What the What podcast. It's the podcast where we tell you what's nerdy, what's popping with culture, what's giving us all the nostalgic feels, and what we're geeking out about, past, present, and future. It's all the what's in one place. That's Eric Creech, we have Kyle Whitley, and I'm Ashby Brame.
Yeah! Yeah! Come on, Eric, join in. Yeah! Yeah! Drink some more, and yeah. Come on, let it out. Let it out! Let it out! Don't hold it in any longer. You're gonna have some sugary issue. Come on, scream. Let it out. Come on, you're straight. Yeah! Yeah!
It's the What Show! Woo! Woo! That boy! Woo! Woo! We just killed every single person's
Drop
speakers.
some nuggets on.
Yeah, let me drop some elbows on this table. Woo!
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I literally killed the sound there.
There's literally like so many deaf people right now.
I'm just in the car, just like, woo, let me crank that
So
up.
I want to go ahead and say that this is our 53rd episode. We celebrated 1 year last week, and I'll be doing an official celebration in a couple of weeks.
Yep.
But in the first 52 episodes, most of them were introed by me, and none of them were as poignant and like catchy as that intro you had there. What's poppin' with culture? I don't know if I could pull that line off.
I mean, look,
I'd already read this, and that still got me.
It's
now, but I do have a note.
Okay, I'm
You
ready.
spelled nostalgic wrong.
Oh, well, see, this is the problem. I don't have spell check where I'm writing this, and I told you guys there would be issues, so.
Yeah, we're gonna have to redo this with nostalgic
hold on.
spelled correctly.
Instead of nostalgic, it's
Okay,
nostalgic.
Nostalgic.
Nostalgic here.
Well, this is the Johnston County branch of What the What.
That's right.
We're giving us all the nostalgic feels, y'all. What there is to geek about.
Come on down, man. Hang out and look and see what is fun
It's
in our
all
memories.
the what's in one place, you hear?
Let me sit you down and show you what I saw on television when I was your age.
Oh my goodness. Okay, cool.
There you go. Yeah, I wasn't gonna say that because you do an amazing job.
That was the best one we've seen. Yeah, I mean, in terms of everything. I mean,
We turned the page.
We've turned the page because it's year two.
Year two.
That's right.
This is a new and improved What the What podcast.
New year.
How much
Yes.
longer until we actually have a studio?
I don't know.
We gotta do this at
We
your
gotta get
house.
on that.
I've got to, replace the carpet and stuff. So.
Nah, you're never
No.
gonna see the carpet.
No.
Well, not in the studio, but in my living room because you have to go through my living room
It's
first.
okay. We won't look down.
It's fine, yeah.
I'm gonna have to blindfold y'all.
I've literally
Okay.
laid on your carpet in your living room.
I know. I'm sorry.
No, it's fine.
It's fine.
I've got a giant Ninja Turtle we can put over there because he just hangs
Like, I
out in my
can't
room.
wait. I'm gonna decorate. I'm gonna
Yes.
bring all of my fun pop culture stuff.
Okay, well that's fine.
We have lots of toys. I pulled out so many that Samuel's at my house, so that friend's kid.
Look, I
we
have
kept
a
wanting
really
to play.
nice Oriental rug that I can
There you go.
give you. You can lay that out on the carpet in the carpet on carpet.
It's cultural feel.
It's like
there.
stacks on stacks.
I've got lots of random posters and comics.
Well, I have a lot of random posters in there too.
See?
So.
Yeah, I bring
I
my
still have-
Captain America poster
Mhm.
over.
I have like a Deadpool one that was drawn like prints and stuff. I have
I have
Venom one.
I have the Deadpool one that we
Mhm.
got autographed when we went to see Deadpool.
The movie. Yeah.
Yes.
I have a beautiful digital artist rendering of Steve Rogers that I got from a fan convention.
Are you sure you want to give that up though?
Gorgeous. I mean, I'm not giving it to you. I'm allowing you to hang it in our studio.
So you'll have something to stare at.
That's
whenever
right.
you go.
That's right.
Well,
They'll
take
be
me.
like, Ashby, it's your turn. I'm like, what?
Well, sorry, I got lost in Steve's eyes.
Yeah.
Turn around.
Those ocean eyes.
The camera's on the other side. Speaking of a little bit to this show, I decided we need an orange couch.
Okay.
We won't need a table. We'll just sit on an orange
Just
couch.
an orange
and
couch.
Eric's like, why?
Okay. That's what Armchair Expert does, though. They sit on furniture. They don't have a table
Mm-hmm.
or anything, so.
I just kept looking at like the snick couch.
The Snick couch. Man, I wonder if there's like an old prop Snick couch somewhere on eBay.
I've looked
we
them
can
up.
buy. Okay.
I found them. There were three. I think
Okay.
there were three. One Nickelodeon still owns.
Okay.
Another one that they were supposed to give away at some contest, but nobody took it. And it's rumored that they gave it away with money or some other thing, and the person turned down the couch way back when, like in the 2000s.
What is wrong with people?
And there's this guy that was on
Excellent
like
question.
it was either a Reddit or Tumblr thing, but all of a sudden he's like, "Oh, you want to know about a couch here?" And he's like, "It's in his living room." He got it somewhere where he was at the studio and was like, "Hey, what are you gonna do with this couch?" And we're like, "Oh, you want it?" And so he just took the couch home. It's
Yes.
literally in his apartment.
I
now.
want the couch.
And Shaq owns the other one.
If Nickelodeon is
Do you
listening.
think we can get Shaq on the show?
Oh, can we get Shaq on
Can we just go to Shaq's house? We'll sit on his couch.
Does he have a tour
Yeah,
bus?
we'll go to Shaq's house. We'll sit on the slick couch.
Yes. Shaq was the same way. He was there.
Snicking with Shaq.
Yes. He was there for Snick and like literally just asked for it. And they're like, of course, you're Shaq.
You're Shaq. You can have whatever you want.
I'm trying to back out of the Facebook feed because I'm just turning red thinking about snicking with Shaq.
I was like,
Snicking with Shaq.
that's Snick with what? Family Shaq.
That means you would share Snickers with Shaq.
Like, eventually, I will absolutely 100% ruin this family share situation we have going on because that's just what I do.
I'm counting on it.
I will ruin. I will forget. We will get to Captain America: Winter Soldier, and I'll drop so many moms. And you're like, we gotta stop. We gotta stop. We gotta start.
We're just gonna turn Facebook off, and we're just gonna put like the little E beside.
Right.
This will be. We'll have to do a warning. A warning.
You'll be like, having Ashby on the
This
show is great. But
this
we
week's
gotta let her go.
episode of What the What contains adult content. That's right. If you don't want to know who's button.
Oh,
I feel like we'll just take a random, let's just have a catchphrase and we'll just put that over top of everything.
What?
Then instead of bye,
Yeah.
it's just
Ashby
whatever at
read
some
an
point.
explicit fan fiction about Bucky Barnes, and we had the CD rating.
We'll just do that little thing where I'm
Normally we're a family show,
That's right.
and we're gonna do an edited version of this at some point without Ashby. But if you want to wait for that one, it'll come out in a couple of weeks. Don't listen to this
I
one.
feel like the scene will pause, it'll turn black and white, and it'll like have some sad music in the background, and it'll play that over top. Ashby decided it was a good idea to say these things here. Please forgive her, blah blah blah.
Yeah, exactly.
And then we just pick back up like
man.
5 minutes later. So
That'll be our spinoff, like getting explicit with Ashby.
Better than getting weird with Ashby. So.
Either one, explicitly weird.
Explicitly weird with Ashby, featuring the other two guys from What the What every now and then.
No one is
featuring
surprised.
2 guys in masks.
Yes, who are both
Who are they?
Hufflepuffs.
You can say.
Yes.
This is Cedric Diggory, and that's Batman Cedric Diggory. Kill the spirit. All right.
Alrighty.
Okay. I'm gonna. This is my first time doing this.
I know. Good luck.
If you haven't, please subscribe to this podcast. Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Play, Stitcher, etc. all have us. Make sure to search for What the What Media.
All one word.
All one word.
And please rate
One.
and review us 5 stars.
Yes.
Also,
5 stars.
go ahead and follow us on Twitter at WTW_media and on Facebook and Instagram at What the What Media.
All one word.
This episode will also be on YouTube. Make sure you subscribe when you see us posting about our YouTube channel.
Search for What the What Media on YouTube because we don't have.
That's right. We don't have a direct
We
link
don't have
yet.
it. Yeah, but if we get 60 of you to sign up, we will.
That's right,
I'm just
people.
hoping they let us have What the What Media.
Sign up.
At this point, it might be gone.
Well, Beards and Boost has like enough, not because Jonathan's had it for 5 years and we just turned it into that. But when you go to select a name, it just puts one for you. And it's like, here, this is your name.
What?
And it's
No.
like, no, we don't want that
That's
name.
not. Okay.
So hopefully, What the What Media will be the name we get.
All one word.
Also, one more thing. If you like this episode or any of the 52, I was correct,
Yes.
other episodes of the What the What podcast, then we have another request. We are trying to grow the show and get
Yes,
more
we are.
listeners, and we need your help. If you like the show, we would please ask that you share this episode with at least one friend. Tag us on social media if that's where you end up sharing it, and we will give you and the person you shared it with a shout out the next time we record. Have we been doing that?
We talk about it a
We
lot.
talk about it all the time.
Okay.
I don't know if anyone's really shared us.
I mean, I shared it and no one shouted me out. It's okay.
because
I
you
mean,
were
but
on.
you did
But
let
you
me
were on.
join.
We let you join the show. I mean,
Just like, hey,
if
shout out, come on
If you
in.
tag enough people, you can join the show. I mean,
I mean, that's okay.
that's the precedent we've set.
At this point, you've got to bring your own mic.
Yeah, because we were lucky to have these 3. Like, we bought 2 for us, and then another
Andy
Cockrell bought 1 for us, and so.
Nice.
But we don't have any more money, and we need another box too. So if you bring your own box and your own mic, then we'll consider letting you squeeze into this little
Okay.
place we call studio.
Yeah.
On today's episode, we are taking it back to your childhood living room.
Deep. Oh wait.
Deep dog!
Now I took that out just so you guys.
I know.
It's okay.
Deep.
On today's episode, we are taking it back to your childhood living room. It's 1997. It's a Saturday night.
Saturday night.
And while your parents or older siblings may be watching SNL later after you go to bed, you're currently glued to Snick at Night. And brand new episodes of All That and Kenan and Kel are starting right now.
Yes.
Right here, right now.
Oh, nice.
You turn everything into a song.
He does.
My life
That's
is a
life.
musical.
It's not just this. It's
Fine.
literally anywhere.
Life is a musical.
It's fun.
1997, I tried to envision myself back in my bedroom. And it made me think, we were talking about fixing the studio. We need to get the carpet that's in my childhood bedroom and put it in your house. I literally had red shag carpet in my
Oh
childhood.
man,
Yes,
that gotta
And
be
it's like the
good.
long shag.
It's still there, right?
Yes, you
I've
Okay.
seen it. Yeah.
You
We pull it
literally
up.
lose, like when you were a kid playing with your like action figures.
You
would
lose
weapons.
their
and
weapons
things
in
in
there.
the carpet, and you don't find it until you step on it at some point later.
20 years later.
Yes.
Yes, so it's probably there. But yes, that's what we need in the studio for the orange shag carpet.
I like it. I like it a
At
lot.
this point, we might as well just buy a house. You know,
You own one, so.
Well, yeah, but you know,
Yeah, I mean, I own one too, but
still,
but we're thinking big. We're thinking big.
we're thinking big. This is what media, not what show. This
That's
is
right.
what media. We need to have
Media.
several.
We are a media conglomerate.
We got to have a place to watch all our movies for our live viewings.
right.
Mm-hmm.
We've got to have, you know, like a retro room for your SNCC stuff that you keep referring to that I have no idea what you're referring to.
The more you're talking, the more I'm envisioning your house. Like it's literally the living room. Got some great couches. You know, you've got that other room your brother is living or is living. He's getting married. Kick him out. SNCC room.
Well,
in
he
there.
is getting kicked out. No.
So SNCC room right there. Your room's pretty big. As long as we live like a cot in there, like we could just. Sleep in there.
I have a futon in there with, you know, there's my bed and I have a futon on the side now. So
This is
Ashley's
all
like-
coming together.
Yeah, Ashley's like, no, you're not coming to my house. I'm not allowing you to have those
Nope.
ideas.
Coming to my house.
nope,
No.
sorry.
I don't own one yet. We'll get there someday. Hopefully this year.
Someday.
Ooh.
Yeah.
That's
fun
exciting.
times. Either way.
Okay, so we're talking about all that and Kenan and Kel, or Kenan and Kel and all that.
Basically, we're talking about Kenan and Kel.
That was
Yes.
that was gonna be my line
They're
Yes.
involved.
here.
Yes, we're talking about Kenan and Kel. So what I would like to do is Kyle and I watched all that and Kenan and Kel
They were privileged to have
Growing up,
Nickelodeon
because we
growing up.
had Nickelodeon.
That's true.
Eric,
Was poor.
that's not what I was gonna say. Didn't have cable for any reason. So,
Lots of people did.
unknown reasons. Who can say? Who can know?
I know. We were poor.
Your dad was too busy spending the money on lawnmowers.
On lawnmowers.
But so I decided. Kyle and I decided to ask Eric. what
Then let's be real. You decided.
I decided.
And I thought it
you're
was a
right.
great idea.
You're right. I decided, and Kyle agreed to ask Eric what he thinks Kenan and Kel and all that were about, just from the cultural zeitgeist of being a '90s
Look
kid.
at that word. All
That's
right.
a good one.
That's a great
I think the
word.
Ghostbusters captured that one.
Yes.
The zeitgeist.
Da, 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 da. All right. So I have not done any research on this.
This is even better.
Yes.
Even better.
So
Yeah.
from what I can understand, all that is
Okay.
basically kids SNL.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, sketch show, funny skits, hilarity. You know, as kids and apparently as adults, we thought it was really, really funny.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure what Kenan and Kel is. I know it stars Kenan Thompson and Kel Mitchell. Kenan Thompson of SNL fame now. I don't know what Kel was famous for.
He's a youth pastor.
Good for him.
Yeah.
But other than that, I'm assuming that might be another sketch show that they did together after all that. I don't know. So, why don't you give us some background on Kenan Thompson and Kel Mitchell? Because that's all I got for you.
I mean, that was like, you got the gist of it, which is
You did.
good.
All that really is.
Something to do with orange drink and good burgers.
Yeah.
That's
But that's why it's phrased.
That's fair. So, okay, so to start us off, I pulled a quote from Kenan Thompson on the Kenan and Kel friendship from a 2016 Entertainment Weekly article.
EW.com.
Because I thought it'd be cool to say something about their friendship in sorry, someone's calling me.
It's your grandma. She's like, turn the microphone
Yes.
up.
Oh,
Get your hair out of your face
I
now.
can't hear you.
You wouldn't answer. We can talk to them on the air.
It's actually not my grandmother calling, and the person who's calling, if I answered on air, she would murder me. Okay, so
Oh, wait, it'd be even
That's
better. Let's give her the address. 291. Oh.
Anyway, I thought it'd be cool to start off talking about their friendship, like from one of their own perspectives. So he said, I think we had a very similar experience in life. He happened to be from Chicago and I'm from Atlanta, but most black families are pretty much the same, like very close and very fearful of our 5-foot mothers and stuff like that. We both have very similar taste in comedy, even though his is more physical and mine's a little more standing around-ish, which I loved.
I think it's great. And the more I was watching more Kenan and Kel stuff today and this week, I think I'm more Kel and Eric's more Kenan.
Yes.
That makes total sense.
Yes, it does.
You're
Yeah.
the more planner. You're the more like, let's do this, and I'm the one that's doing crazy dumb things.
Yes, I agree.
It's perfect. As you come to love Kenan and Kel as we do, you'll understand even more.
Yeah.
I already love Kenan.
Well, that's true. You need to come to love me now. Kel. And then you're Ashley. Well, technically, her name was Amanda Bynes.
Right.
But you're.
Oh, I know her.
Yes.
She was on that. She was on that
Yeah.
show. What I Like About You.
Yes.
Yes.
And they
Well,
had that
before
theme
that,
song.
she was on Ask Ashley.
That's me.
Dear Ashley.
I don't get it.
It's fun.
great.
It's fun.
We need to sit down with you and just watch tons of TV.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
Don't take me with a good time. All right.
So, I'm going to go into a little background for the characters. Kenan Thompson is an American actor and comedian. He has been a cast member of the NBC sketch comedy series Saturday Night Live since 2003, making him, and I didn't know this, the longest tenured cast member in SNL's history.
That's incredible.
I haven't even
When you
thought
think of
about it.
all the great people
Right.
who've gone through that show, and he's been there the longest.
Yes.
Well, the cool thing about it too is he's not just stuck around just to be there. Like
Right.
he's still funny. He's still very involved in like everything going on.
Yes.
Whereas he's not just a guy that's like, well, it pays decent, and I get my name known, and I'm just gonna stick around here. Like,
Exactly. And
like-
plus, I think he finds true. I mean, I'm putting words in his mouth to be fair, but I feel like a lot of people don't stick around on SNL because they're like, I'm gonna do movies. And to be fair, some of the people who have moved on from SNL have been very, very like well-known comedic actors in movies, like Bill Murray. But I feel like Kenan, that's his wheelhouse, like that's his lane. Like he really loves sketch comedy,
Right.
and he writes on the show. He doesn't just act. And so I feel like, you know, if you're happy where you are, like why move on just to say that you're moving on? You know?
I listened to a podcast with him today, and he kind of got asked, not necessarily asked why are you still there, but he was just saying the part of comedy he loves is the working with others. He's more of a group person,
Right,
like you're
yeah.
working together and doing something. And he said, you know, I'm still much of a team player with that, like, and with all the writing and everything else. And he said, I guess, you know, that still stands firm with, you know, even the new people that have come along over time still want him in their skits that they're writing for themselves. Because a lot of
Right.
how Saturday Night Live is you writing your own stuff and kind of teaming up with people and doing things. And of course, you got some other writers too, but a lot of you doing the comedy and everything else to write your own stuff. So at least parts of it. So the fact is, he just loves what he's doing. He did say that there is a lot more coming up for him, not to like jump ahead for all of him, but he's got some other things that he's starting to do. And he said that he plans to stay at Saturday Night Live as long as he can until his schedule becomes too busy doing something else where he can't stick to that type of schedule.
No, something else like another show he's doing, or
Yes.
okay.
Yeah, I think so.
Yes. Do you know about that show?
No.
Oh. Well, I'll just go ahead and say, like,
I just assumed like all that something else. I mean,
well,
Well, he is
spin-off.
producing.
he's a producer on all that.
Yeah.
The new show, him
Right.
and Kel both are.
Makes
and
sense. They don't know who he is though.
He has a show that's coming out. I don't know if it's this year or next year, just called Kenan. And I think it's on CBS.
I did see
It
that.
sounds like a CBS show where they just
Yeah.
have the most simplest titles.
It's
Yeah.
literally, it sounds a
It's
lot.
like after Kenan, here comes Mom,
Yeah. Well, it came up from one of those things that
and then Two Broke Girls.
I think they take it a lot from the stuff we grew up watching. It's sitcoms and stuff too, where I think the mother has passed away and he comes in now raising two daughters. It's like his quick synopsis of what I saw.
It sounds like
Okay.
Full House
It does, except, you know, I don't know if he'll have a goofy brother-in-law and friend.
and a random friend who just lives
Right.
there.
Yeah. But I don't know. I'd watch
We had
it.
really
I'd
unrealistic,
watch it.
unrealistic expectations of what adult life was like growing up. And
Yeah.
100%. Like,
It's
I
like-
thought I was going to be raising kids with two of my best friends.
yeah.
That's apparently not how kids have
That's
it.
not how it happens, no.
Mm-mm.
Still trying to figure that one
It'd
out.
be a lot easier. Well,
Oh,
like,
man.
your turn to raise the child.
Right. Although, to be fair, when Chelsea and Megan and I go out in public with Megan's two girls, it is a lot like Full
Yeah.
House because it takes three of us to wrangle the two of them.
So what needs to happen now is me and Eric need to go off with you and just randomly start singing Beach Boys songs.
Everywhere.
Yeah.
Oh.
Well, just that too.
I need to update, sorry, going off the track here. I need to update the Full House video, put Ashley in it now. Oh, we gotta get some videos of you doing crazy stuff.
Okay. I'll figure it
Not
out.
tonight.
Okay, so
Go.
Thompson was
Back
born
to
in
the
Atlanta, Georgia, to Fletcher and Elizabeth Ann Thompson. He has two siblings, an older brother and younger sister. His mother enrolled him in acting classes at age 5, and his first role was as Toto in a church production of The Wiz, which had no lines. You can see his dog. He continued,
rough.
yeah, exactly. He continued acting through his youth, appearing in school plays, and he auditioned for the theater company, the Youth Ensemble of Atlanta.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
YEA. Yeah.
Ensemble of the Land.
Yeah, that's where the whole Usher thing comes from. You didn't know that?
Yeah, that's where he graduated.
I wish I'd have known that.
Yeah.
I could have given that history, you know, my senior year before I performed that song at the
Before you got put in the prison.
before I got
Before you
before I got sent to
you were allowed
Rockford.
to graduate.
for singing, yeah, the uncensored version.
Oh man,
This was just my ploy to try to get into that academy.
that's
ensemble.
hilarious.
That's right. I really thought I was going to get noticed. Anyway.
So Kel, I'm gonna butcher his middle name, and I tried to look it up, but I've no
Johari.
Johari. Kel Johari Rice Mitchell
Sounds good.
is an American actor, stand-up comedian, musician, singer, and rapper. Mitchell was born in Chicago and grew up on the South Side. He attended Chicago Vocational High School and took drama classes at the ETA Creative Arts Foundation. He has 2 sisters, and he is a convert to Christianity and a youth pastor, like Kyle mentioned.
Yeah.
Kenan and Kel was Mitchell's second professional acting performance, having only worked on All That and in amateur theater productions. Thompson's previous experience before All That and Kenan and Kel included D2, The Mighty Ducks. I knew Eric would have something to say about this. I never watched The Mighty Ducks.
Oh,
What?
Yes, I mean, it's not my thing. I don't know.
It was in the 90s. How was it not your thing?
Yeah, you were alive in the 90s,
I was
weren't
a
you?
You played
girl.
sports.
It was about
There were girls on that
Girls
team.
It wasn't my
I don't remember
thing.
the
Rollerbladed.
names.
You had to have rollerbladed back then.
It was, I was a big rollerblader.
See,
Yeah, you knew how to. Did you have the inline skates?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
You should have loved this.
You should have. That was right up your alley.
Go put your skates on and watch this now.
I bet if there was a bus in their house.
There was in the second one. Where they put
There's a bus in the second movie.
U.S.
so-
Goodwill Games.
Wow.
I
She's
was
gonna
listening-
pop. She's gonna pop us for us.
I was listening to your thing today with Kel, and they asked him like, how did he meet Kenan, or how did they meet each other or become friends? And it was one of those open audition casting call things from all over, so that's how they ended up there. And he said that he was kind of in the room waiting, and all of a sudden, Kenan came in the room, and this was after the Mighty Ducks had already come out. He said Kenan came in to his audition wearing rollerblades and dressed in full Mighty Ducks gear.
Nice.
Making it extra
Look,
obvious.
you gotta
like,
flaunt what you got.
he's like extra obvious from what he just came.
Like, I don't have a lot, but I have this. So
Right, yeah.
At first, I thought, okay, he's just kidding. Whatever.
My resume speaks for itself.
Yes, and it's not my.
you're hiring this guy from this movie if you hire me.
Yeah.
Have you seen Mighty Ducks?
This is the only thing I've ever been in. So
Have you seen that kids love rollerblading now? You're welcome.
yes.
I'm so on brand.
Yes. So it's like, I heard Kel say it, and I was like, okay, maybe he's just joking.
Right.
But then they asked like Kenan and Kel in a different interview, and Kenan was like, yeah, it's like I
Pretty
came in
much.
there showing it all off, had my duffel bag with the Mighty Ducks on it and everything.
Something to be said for it.
And so it worked out though.
That's funny. Okay, so even though we're talking about Kenan and Kel, we're gonna start with All That.
It all begins with all that.
Because it all begins with All That. So All That is what leads to the Kenan and Kel show, and All That is what leads to Good Burger the movie and all of that. So I want to talk a little bit about All That because it was so much a part of my childhood growing up, because it was a part of Snick at Night and all that kind of stuff. And
What night did this come on? Saturday?
Saturday night.
So while y'all watching this, I'm watching Walker, Texas Ranger, because that's the only thing that was good
Right.
on Saturday.
Look, I watched some Walker Texas Ranger. My parents were huge Walker Texas Ranger and Nash Bridges fans, and I think I was a little young to be watching both those shows, but they let me watch them anyway.
In the
And I
eyes
saw
of the
some things and
Ranger
some
are
stuff.
upon you.
Anything you do, he's gonna see.
What was the other one?
When you're in Texas, look behind you.
We watched.
That's where Rangers
Gonna be.
gonna be.
Down
We're
and
gonna get all that.
We watched that and Dr. Quinn met some more.
Oh, Dr.
Oh,
Reynolds.
Dr. Quinn.
Oh, Sully.
They also had that early edition where, like, the paper with the predict the future that came on before Dr. Quinn, but
Yes.
And Touched
the
by
cat.
Angel.
He had a cat.
yeah, and a cat. Yes, he had a cat.
You basically just listed every single show my mother watched in the 90s.
But pretty much the CBS Saturday Night lineup.
So her mother's in the other room with you while we're
That's
watching.
right. Lisa's like, yes, let's watch early edition.
Oh man.
Oh man. Okay. So yes. So all that was part of the lineup for Saturday night Snick at Night on Nickelodeon that rotated out throughout the mid to late 90s. That would include Kenan and Kel. It included Are You Afraid of the Dark? It included
Clarissa Explains It All.
Clarissa Explains It All,
Like the
Real
Amanda show and
Monsters.
stuff got put on there later as she got bigger too.
Yes, and so it sort of transitioned with whatever was very popular at that time. They would show the newest episodes on Saturday nights.
Okay.
So All That is an American sketch comedy television series created by Brian Robbins and Mike Tolan. The series originated on Nickelodeon, and it started in April of 1994 and ran all the way through October of 2005. Lasted 10 seasons.
Pretty good.
They did just reboot it last year with a lot of the original cast producing and starring in their old roles, but with a newer, main, younger cast. And Robbins pitched the idea of creating a kid version of Saturday Night Live. So you were right, Eric. It is basically SNL for kids.
Yay.
He brought Tolan and Schneider, who was also a head writer, along to help develop the show. And the three were influenced by classic sketch shows such as The Carol Burnett Show, You Can't Do That on Television, and Laugh-In. And they began to flesh out rough ideas for the show's format. And they did, like Kyle was talking about, they did sort of an all-call around the country talent call for the cast members. The series features original short comedic sketches and weekly musical guests aimed towards a young audience. As a side note, I sort of discovered this when I was trying to look up all of the genesis of the show. The original All That featured hip-hop and R&B artists at a time in which doing so was rare on kids' channels. The musical guest in the first season included TLC, who actually performed the theme song. So they're like, all that. That's TLC.
Nice.
And then Brandy and Aaliyah and Usher, were also musical guests. Its sketches parody contemporary culture and are performed by a large and varying cast of child and teen actors. One of the more memorable things about All That for many viewers was the diverse cast. So in 1994, the original 7-person ensemble of kids and teen comedians had 3 black members and a Latina member.
That's pretty good.
Which I thought was really cool.
Absolutely.
And Jermaine Fowler, who is a current producer of the newest iteration of All That, which started last year, he grew up watching the show and said it was the first time he saw kids like him doing sketch comedy on TV.
That's awesome.
And then Nickelodeon ended up doubling down on that diversity when they pulled Kenan and Kel out of All That and gave them their own show. Thompson and Mitchell were the first black stars of a Nickelodeon sitcom, which I thought was pretty cool.
Yeah.
So it started with Mitchell and Thompson joking around on the set of All That, which caught the attention of producers, including the main producer of Kenan and Kel, who is Kim Bass, who's actually a black male, by the way. I was like, I'm Kim Bass, you're expecting
A female.
a female.
I work with Kim.
Right. So I just
Gordon
thought,
Johnson's dad.
Yes.
oh, okay, interesting. But anyway, during a hiatus, they ended up, for All That, they ended up pulling them and they filmed the pilot for Kenan and Kel. So let's talk about All That for a hot second before we get into Kenan and Kel.
Cool.
Kyle,
Yes.
what are some of your favorite sketches from All That?
I had a bunch of different characters. Let me see. I wrote some of them down.
We've already decided that Eric is Coach Creedon.
Yes, Coach Creedon is number 1 on my list, or at least right there.
Coach Creedon.
Eric has officially seen 1 video now.
One.
Coach Creedon.
Yeah.
And it's from the new All That.
Hilarious.
And it's still great. Everyday French with Pierre Escargot.
Yes.
It's something that's hilarious that I feel like you would like as well, Eric. It's literally Kenan Thompson in a bathtub with flippers on, a rain jacket, and he pretends a rubber ducky, and he pretends that he's French. And so he'll say something in French, and then he will repeat it in English with like the subtitle written out of what he actually said.
Yes.
And it was always random things.
Yeah. So like one of them, he would say French, and then he said, why is there peanut butter in my belly button?
Yes. And it's always random things like that. It was never like serious, like you're not learning French here.
Right.
And I was listening, because as a kid I didn't know, so I just assumed everything. But I was listening to a thing as well whenever he was talking about that character. Like he loved doing that character, and they wanted him to learn French. They're like, you need to learn French to do this. And he's like, no, it'd be funnier if I'm just saying words that aren't French anyway.
Right.
So literally everything he's saying is not French either. Like there may be some random words that just got lucky. But there was something he was saying, because I was watching, some of the greatest hits or whatever, and he was like, blah, 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 it's a madre. And then he's like, something about his mother. And I was like, well, maybe that was. And it's like, no, he just got lucky. It said madre. You can tell he kind of somewhat thought some things through.
Yes.
But no, he did not.
Then he was always like,
yes. Eiffel Tower. It's like, why is the Eiffel Tower full of cheese?
It's like, it's called Everyday French with Pierre Escargot.
Yes.
You're supposed to be learning French. Oh man, that was funny.
I don't know. There was so many. There's Super Dude, who Kenan pretended to be a superhero.
Who his one weakness was he was lactose intolerant.
That's literally how I learned about lactose intolerant. Though.
Wow.
Yeah.
As a kid, I didn't know. And there was, I can't remember the girl's name right now, but there was this one actress that she was in every scene, I feel like.
Mm-hmm.
And because all of a sudden, like, he would be winning or stopping a bank robbery, and then all of a sudden, the villain is a milkman. Like, he comes out and he's Josh Silver's a milkman. And then the girl would shout and like, oh no, Super Dude's lactose intolerant. He can't handle milk, or like something along
He
those
would
lines.
throw like cheese and ice cream at him,
Yes.
and he would just be like, "Oh no, cheese!"
My one
Yes.
weakness.
Yes.
This is taking me back to when we were talking about Gooselumps a couple of weeks ago, and you had the weird episode where you had the superhero facing
Yes.
the galloping gazelle versus the masked mutant,
Masked mutant.
whose one weakness was like acid or something.
Yes.
But he could shapeshift to anything.
Yes, just not liquids.
Yes, just not liquid. Yes.
Oh
no, I'm liquid now.
There's this big part of it that I wish I could just sit Eric down for like 3 hours and just watch YouTube clips. And it's not a matter of learning Eric, it's just a matter of this is just hilarious, even still to this point. Which is good because I feel like sometimes we've talked about it, you gotta go back and watch some things with your nostalgic goggles and be like, oh, this was fun because I was a kid when this happened. But a lot of this is just still funny.
It still holds up.
It's still funny comedy.
Oh yeah.
As a kid, I did not appreciate Lori Beth Denberg.
Lori Beth Denberg, I think.
Yes,
Yeah.
I did not appreciate her enough. And I know this is
man.
more so about Kenan and Kel, but she played Vital Information, where she was at a news desk and she would fiddle around with a prop and then say some random fact or information that is not important at all.
It was definitely their take on Weekend Update.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
And she had like signs behind her that would say like, cats don't actually like milk or something,
Yeah.
like just random stuff behind her. And she would be like, chocolate plus milk equals chocolate milk.
Yeah.
Alright, so we have like something to put in the background when we get the studio finished.
Yes.
Just a chalkboard with a random
Vital
fact.
information.
great.
Yeah.
Yes.
She also was the loud librarian, where kids would be in the library and randomly like whisper something, and then she would start shouting at the top of her lungs about how this is a library. You can't do that here. There's random scenes where she would be working out with giant dumbbells and making tons of noise, playing with loudspeakers, sharpening tons of pencils, like anything.
She had a pinball machine
Yes.
in the library one time where she was like, "You need to be quiet," and it was like,
Kel was not Kel. Kenan played a character. He was a principal.
"Oh yes,
Principal
Pimpel,
something Bane Pimpel.
Pimpel, yes."
And he had a giant pimple on his forehead.
That would throb.
That as
when
he got more
angry.
excited, it would start throbbing and stuff. As a kid, that kind of grossed me out. But now, I had this moment.
Hilarious.
Obviously, Good Burger was a major one that
Yeah.
came from this because it was this, and then they made a movie based off of that. I never, like I said, we're sticking to them. Ask Ashley was Amanda Bynes' kind of her deal. But it was just hilarious, but she would get letters, and she'd be some sweet little girl in her bedroom, like reading letters from fan mail or questions like, Ashley, my grandma's not doing this or whatever. And she's like, oh, that's so funny. That's because her grandma is like starts yelling at because it'd be dumb things, and then she would just go way overboard yelling at them.
My favorite one was like, probably because my name is Ashby, but Dear Ashley was my favorite skit probably.
That's almost my name.
Right, exactly. And so there was one where it was like, "Dear Ashley, every day when I get ready for school, I jump out my window to go to school, and so far I've broken my legs 4 times. What should I do?" And she's like, "Well, use the freaking stairs! The stairs, you idiot!" Oh,
I really
man.
do. I'm excited at some point just to sit there and be like, oh, we're not going to the movies. We're actually just watching all that, random clips from YouTube now.
Yeah,
It's like, I'll meet you at the movie. No, actually, I'll go pick you up.
that's right. Don't worry about it.
I brought the popcorn. We're watching this now.
That's right.
You say that, and it makes me think of this whole Snick experience for me as a kid. Because it was a Saturday night thing. It wasn't just a one show. It was a big thing. They had I want to say they had a theme song for Snick, kind of letting you know the hour's here,
Yes.
it's starting.
Yeah.
The big orange couch was the big Snick thing where it was in all of the commercials, all of the stuff. There was this giant orange couch that was made for that show or for that night. And then I just remember you would get your snacks together, especially at my cousin's house. If I was spending the night with them, everything's shut down. We were playing video games, whatever, but Snick came on and you stopped.
Yeah.
You came in, you turned the lights off, you all sat down, had snacks, and watched all the Snick or whatever. And especially for this, because it hits you, it stopped in 2005, so it kind of at least grew with you a little bit. So maybe you grew out of cartoons, but this was funny stuff, and they still had, like you said, they had, entertainment and musical artists that were, especially being a young white kid, I didn't listen to hip hop often from my mom. Obviously, it was not a choice to be listening to oldies, but it opened my life up to a style of music I'd never heard before.
Right.
Or at least not in a way that was presented for me to get into type deal. It's not that you overheard it somewhere else. But
right.
So what I'm hearing is y'all just had like the best weekends ever. Because like my weekend highlight was TGIF. But y'all had like another night of it.
Yes.
On Nickelodeon.
Yes.
Oh.
Yeah. I would get so excited because of Are You Afraid of the Dark? And so I would get through all that and Kenan and Kel, and then Are You Afraid of the Dark would come on, and I knew every single time it was going to scare me. And I was so excited to be terrified, you know, because Are You Afraid of the Dark was legitimately scary. And Saturday nights on Nickelodeon were awesome. Yeah.
I've left out 2 characters that I really liked. Well, technically 3. Kenan and Kel both played 2 old men called Mavis and Clavis.
Yes.
And they talked about how they became, I was listening to something, and they said that they kind of created those characters. They were sitting together, and even on the show, like the same way Saturday Night Live is, with all that, they still allowed the kids to like write as well. And like turn that in and like kind of work together to produce some of the stuff. So they were allowed to be free and have ideas too. It wasn't just they were there and told to do everything. But they started working together, thought about funny ways. And so they literally are just 2 old men that come walking in with canes. It reminds me part of like the 2 old men from the Muppets that kind of complain about things. But at the same time, like they're also hip and they dance a lot. They love music. So like they get into all these things, and there's old men with canes dancing and everything else. But they're also, it shows that old men tactic of them being old men and we can do things because we're smart and we're old and we just do whatever. And they like show up to a shop class and they're talking junk to the kids. It's like, oh, we can build whatever. And then like 2 seconds later, they're like, oh my God, you built a brand, like a whole new car. And there's like some old Chevy Camaro sitting there and it's like sparkling and stuff. And it's like, you built that in like 45 minutes in shop class with the wood.
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah, don't just open. And they start dancing and stuff. And like, I don't know, to see that, they also were often in the crowd interacting, and they introduced all the musical guests and the shows. But another one that Kel played was Repairman, man. Literally, if you got something broke,
Repairman.
He's going to show up and he's going to fix it. I loved his superhero outfit as well. It's literally some overalls with a giant R on there, maybe a cape, I don't remember, a tool belt. But he comes in. I watched an episode today where he came in, and the family's like, oh no, our VCR's broke. And like the parents are telling their kids, they're like, oh no, what are we going to do? And so we need to call a repairman. And you hear some loud booming sound. And he comes falling through the ceiling. And then the little girls are like, okay. And he's like, I'm repairman, man. I can fix anything. He's like, well, starting with the hole you just made in our ceiling? No, I can't repair that. But, and as he's trying to fix the VCR, he literally smashes the television on the ground. He said, now here, hold this while I fix it. And he starts beating the VCR with a hammer until like the tape comes out all shredded up. He's like, oh, here's your problem. You just needed to rewind it. Like all sorts of issues. But it's one of those things. He's fixing things by destroying everything.
Yeah.
And it says repair man, a whole lot. So
yeah. I
don't know. That's just some of my favorite. I don't want to steal the whole show. Like, how about you guys? Obviously, Eric, jump in. It's like, I like Kenan and Kel.
Yeah, Eric, jump in. What's your...
I like Kenan. I don't have a problem with Kel.
You just don't know enough about him.
Wow.
That's right. I haven't really.
That's fair.
I haven't gotten used to Kel yet.
Yeah, I sort of have all like very similar. All that. Like I remember.
You literally took every one of hers.
I didn't take.
The Inconvenience Store.
Yeah, I didn't take that one.
Or Vital Information.
I did take Vital Information.
Never mind. Just the Inconvenience
I'm just going through this list that Ashby's already prepared, and I just added 1 or 2.
That's
That's
what
fair.
he
That's
does. He steals your list.
So I actually was looking at videos, and there was one on YouTube where Kel goes through his favorite characters. And so Coach Cretan was at the top, Ed, but then also Lump. Do you remember Lump? He was like the stupid guy.
His answer for everything is Jupiter!
Yeah. And then Mavis and Clavis, and then Repairman Man. So, but I loved Ask Ashley. That was definitely one of my favorites because of my name. And then I really loved Everyday French. I remembered that. And then Vital Information. I thought Vital Information was hilarious. So.
And you were watching, like, we showed Eric one video from the new All That before this started.
Yes.
And there's a character we haven't mentioned, but it's the Big Ear of Corn. That literally is a giant prop, but it's a character.
Everyone loved the Big Ear of Corn.
Yes.
That came from the original one in the 90s, everything else. Like, it was always a cast member. I remember as they were talking, I don't know, somebody on Instagram I followed was like I think it's the guy that would come in and pretend to be the stagehand guy that was like, you got 5 minutes, 5 minutes, everybody.
Yeah.
I think it's Kevin was what they called him. But on Instagram, he shared some picture probably a couple years ago, but it was the giant ear of corn was still in the props, like at Nickelodeon Studios or whatever, and he was like, I took a picture with it. And it's crazy to see so many people went crazy about it because it's literally just a giant prop of a giant ear of corn.
Yes.
But as a child, for some reason, that just stuck with you so hilariously. Like, the same way that we probably look at kids now and it's like, why is that a big deal for you? Like,
right.
Ear of corn, whatever. But like, the same way you see it now and there's
Right.
a nostalgic moment about it, that's the big ear of corn.
Here's talking about the big ear of corn, like what you find funny as a kid versus what you find funny as an adult. And I think it's still, the big ear of corn, like maybe as an adult, I'm kind of like, why did I think that was so funny?
Mm-hmm.
But for the most part, when I've gone back and watched scenes from all that, and even Kenan and Kel, it's hilarious.
Yes.
Like, even as an adult, like, I was watching some of those things at work on my lunch break and just like crying. I was laughing so hard to the point where one of my colleagues was like, are you okay? Because it like, I feel like that kind of humor just...
Sorry, fix your mic.
It's fine.
By breaking it.
Yeah.
I'm making loud
Repair
noise.
man.
Yes.
Man. Yeah. I can fix it, but not your mic. But yeah, I just feel like that kind of humor transitions really well. It's just because I thought, okay, well, now that they have all that 2019 and there's a younger cast that they've brought in to reach, kids Gen Z or whatever. But they have some of the old cast members come in to produce, but also to reprise their roles and sort of like usher in the newer cast, the younger cast. I thought, well, I probably don't find this funny anymore because whatever was funny about it as a kid, like it won't translate, but it really does.
Yeah.
It's still hilarious.
That's one thing I was noticing because after you shared a video with me and Eric about the new all that, is I'd heard that they were going to do it. I didn't realize it was out already. So I've gone and watched multiple episodes now, and the stuff's still funny.
Yeah.
Like, and it's done in a way where, like you say, you obviously have the older characters that come back that you kind of in your nostalgic moments, but those characters are still just funny because it's funny, not because it's nostalgic. But then even the new scenes with the new kids, it's bringing them along and doing their own thing. They don't fully rely, they're not just some background cast to these old characters. Same way I keep referring back to listening to things, but I was really trying to dig in because Kenan and Kel, especially Kenan, until the last few years, really wasn't any social media. Like, he didn't do anything.
Right.
I think he said something along the lines, he was looking at doing a book or whatever, and he was putting it out there to companies, and a lot of companies were really kind of lowballing him on it because they're like, well, your social media presence, like, you don't have social media.
Right.
And he didn't realize, like, well,
how
okay.
important that was.
Yeah. And so he started doing that, and Kel's been more active on it, but so I was listening to some of their stuff, and they were talking about with this show, it's been great for them because they've been able to come in and meet with the kids. Like, they've taken time as producers, as just talent in general, meeting with the kids, talking with them about, this is some things you're going to go through now that you're a kid star, that these things are going to happen.
Right.
Here's some stuff. They're like, support we didn't have, like, coming through that age. In the same way, Kenan and Kel's parents have come in and talked with the kids' parents, because at that age, a lot of the kids, their parents are there on set with them.
Right.
And so some of the parents, their parents have come along to talk to the new parents, to give them some guidance and wisdom. And a lot of it, Kenan was talking about the fact too, is this is still their thing. Like, they don't want to come in and steal the thunder off of this. Like, this is just kind of ushering in a new generation and being part of it to help this and support them to continue to do amazing things on their own. And it's cool to see how supportive they are of the cast. Like, it's not, they're talking about, like, there's 7 kids of theirs pretty much, because it's something they were a part of, but now they're helping these other 7 kids to continue this on, this legend of something. But I don't know, it was cool to see just how supportive they are of the actual cast and making sure it's known for its newness as well. But either way, it still holds up. I think it's awesome, and I would definitely continue to watch now that I've started watching.
Cool.
Yeah, I think I'm definitely gonna watch the new all that because it looks hilarious.
A lot of stuff disappoints, I feel like. If you come back, not this show, but a lot of stuff they bring back from our childhood, they're only aiming at the nostalgic part of it.
Right.
I feel like there's part of that, like, is it Fuller House or whatever?
Yeah.
I started watching it. I haven't watched the last season, and there's part of it I'm going to just because I'm going to finish this out.
Right. Yeah. Same. I'm only on season 1 of Fuller House.
And it's one of those things that at first it was really awesome because they were doing it, and then the next part was like, okay, this isn't just as great. Like, it's not horrible, it's not bad, but it's just like it doesn't hit you the same way as the nostalgic thing does. Versus how all that is how they're doing it, where it's a new show with new spins on it, new funness, and new things. But there's enough of the oldness, like old stuff to it, to
so like
bring you along.
Girl Meets World.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love
yeah,
Girl
which was
Next
also
I did too.
good. Also,
I'm a little upset they shut it down after 3 seasons.
Sean ages so well.
Yes.
That boy will always just be like, chef's kiss.
Yes. That's where we were going to go with this.
Hashtag goals.
Exactly
Hashtag
what we were
goals,
gonna
yes.
say.
Chef's kiss.
Hashtag Ryder Strong.
Oh,
Yes.
Ryder strong.
Strong.
Cool. So,
What are we talking about?
tell me about Kenan and Kel. So that's all that.
Okay, that's all that.
And now, I got that part right. All that was kids S&M.
Correct.
Kenan and Kel.
You take this one because I did a whole lot of talking.
I wrote in the
He
script,
does that.
Kyle talks
do.
for 30 minutes.
Yes.
Okay, so I already talked about kind of how all that brought forward like the comedic duo of Kenan and Kel.
Mm-hmm.
So they got their own show, and that show ran from 1996 to 2000. Once again, talking about sort of bringing in the lesser known to maybe kids who were watching Nickelodeon R&B and rap.
Mm-hmm.
They had a theme song that was written for them by Coolio called "Aw, Here It Goes."
Love Coolio.
And it was right after Coolio had gotten pretty famous for Gangster Paradise.
Nice. He also had a great song on the Space Jam soundtrack.
Right.
Number 2.
Is it Coolio or LL Cool J? No, it's Coolio.
It's Coolio.
They both were there.
Yes.
Performers.
No, it's cool.
You're
It's
right,
Coolio.
Right.
And then so episodes open and close. So here's the thing about Kenan and Kel is it's not quite sketch, but it's very similar to sort of the other sitcoms of the time where there was, obviously a live audience.
Mm-hmm.
It was written by writers. I know that's hard to believe.
That's how things go.
Sorry, I'm still thinking about Sean from Boy Meets World. let me get my mind back.
It was not
together.
written by writer. It was writers.
I'm sorry. But they did something a little differently where at the beginning and end of every episode, Kenan and Kel would come out to the audience in front of a curtain that was hiding the soundstage, and they would remain in character and do a short bit about the episode that you were about to see, and then afterwards the episode that you had just seen.
Okay.
Which was, I think, I had never really seen anything like that. Because even shows recorded in front of a live studio audience, you just see the show.
Mm-hmm.
You don't see the audience. You don't see the actors interact with the audience necessarily. So it was kind of like fourth wall breaking a little bit. Because they were also not doing it as Kenan Thompson and Kel Mitchell. They were doing it as Kenan and Kel from the show, and that was a little different. They were
Kenan Rockmore and Kel
Kimball, right?
And it sounds a little confusing. Thinking through it now.
Yes.
As a kid, it never crossed my mind. And even watching some of the episodes, it flows so well that they're just there and they're still performing. They're just who they are, and you buy into what they're about to do even more.
Right.
But it doesn't cross your mind. Once the show starts, you're fully. This is a real life thing for them now. It's not.
Right.
They're performing for you. I don't know. It's different in how, like you said, they're not the actors out front being like, "Hey, we're about to do a great show today based on this."
Right.
It's just one big continuation.
So what would happen is Kel would never know what they were about to get into, and Kenan would refuse to tell him. He just had some kind of scheme, and so what would happen is they would go through sort of the scheme. Kenan would be like, "Okay, we're gonna need this. We're gonna need this. We're gonna need this." And he would give him an assorted items and tell him to meet him somewhere, and then he'd walk off, and Kel would just kind of be like, "Here it goes," which is where that catchphrase came from, and the Coolio song. So the show is responsible for other catchphrases like "Who loves orange soda?" Kel loves orange soda. So we have some orange soda with us today that we're drinking while we record.
I love how you did the Nickelodeon colors as well.
Yes.
It's orange and green. So great job, Eric.
Thank you, Food Line, for having 74-cent 2-liter bottle of soda.
That's right.
Matches
Great
choice.
Promo code what?
Yes.
Anyway,
Hashtag the what?
I wish that the bit had a better story, but really, I couldn't find any, serious behind the scenes, this is where this came from. It just says that it was a collaboration between showrunner Dan Schneider and Mitchell, Kel Mitchell. They just came up with the whole thing, I'm gonna really love orange soda. And they definitely played it up.
Well, we have loved our orange soda tonight. It has 52 grams
so
of
much
sugar.
More sugar than I
And it's the
normally
most
have.
sugar I've had in a drink in over 6 months.
Yeah.
So
I'm gonna be
yeah.
jazzed to be alive tonight when I'm supposed to be sleeping instead.
I'm hoping I get knocked out early.
Woo! Anyway, so what's interesting I thought is the show is set in Chicago, which is where Kel is from. Kel's from, yeah. And they play Kenan Rockmore and Kel Kimball. They're a pair of high school students who go on several misadventures, which usually occur as a result of Kenan devising some kind of scheme, which is often foiled by Kel's nonsense. Kenan obviously plays the series kind of straight man, and Kel's the comedic foil.
That's me.
Yeah.
I'm
in
Kenan.
love with bottles of orange soda.
Yeah. So the duo's popularity and the fame of the All That Good Burger skit also led, after the first season of the show, to the 1997 cult classic full-length movie of the same name, Good Burger.
And see, I never saw the movie, but I remember the movie because of that one line that everyone would quote in middle school. Welcome to Good Burger, home of the Good Burger. Can I take your order?
Yes.
And
you know more than you really thought you did.
that's literally all I know is that. But of course, I would just laugh along. Yeah, that's hilarious. But
I think that perfectly describes it. Though. Like the vibe you got off of those type of things from our childhood. There's so many of those things that as kids we would literally go to the pool or we would go to school or wherever else, and we would just repeat lines like this all day long,
for sure.
nonstop.
and I still do it as a 33-year-old.
It's okay. It's just part of who we are.
Yes,
It's part of the
who
cultural
we are.
zeitgeist, guys.
it's who we are. It's who we are.
I didn't realize, because obviously the whole Good Burger thing came from the skit, but the movie, because it was a full length movie, really it had to have a plot and it like built upon a lot of things. So there were things that I thought were all that central that were from the movie, like the I'm a dude, he's a dude, she's a dude.
We're all dudes.
We're all dudes.
That's a
We have a
song.
new catchphrase.
Like I
That's
thought
a
that
song.
was a
Oh, never mind.
catchphrase. Well, it is a catchphrase,
It
but
is.
it's from a song. But I thought that was from the All That skit, and it's not. It's from the Good Burger movie, which was interesting. So okay,
Well, there's random things like that too. Not like break in, but Kenan on the skit on the show just played Lester Oaks construction worker, which
Yes.
he came in. It was another great character.
Yes.
I used to have a guy that I had to call weekly at work, and he was a warehouse guy in another state named Lester. And all I could think about was Lester Oaks, construction worker. Like, and I would
Right.
laugh about that, and Justin Fawcett was like, I don't know what you're laughing
yeah.
at.
What's
man."
so funny?
But
I'm going with Lester.
yes. But he, on the show, that's all he was. But
Right.
in the movie, they give Kenan another role where he becomes an employee at Good
Right.
Burger.
He's a coworker. Yeah.
And so he has to, as a teenager now, not dressed as a grown man,
Right.
as, a construction worker. So they changed that up some, but, and they really just expound upon the restaurant itself and everything else that goes along with it.
Yeah.
So it is the random things that change up, but honestly, it's something I realize now, but as a kid, like,
Right.
that didn't make no sense. Like, I didn't
Yeah.
think nothing about that.
Yeah.
But
Well, so the next part is talking about things from the show and from the movie. I combine them
that's
since
fine.
they're both
Yeah.
kind of Kenan and Kel. So, and also, I miss, this is what happens when you're a kid, because you remember things, but then you're like, wait a second, that's not actually how it was at all. So I thought
It's the Mandela effect.
Makes you
sort
talk
of,
like-
yeah, sort of the Mandela effect. So
There you go.
I thought that the last 3 episodes of the last season of Kenan and Kel were almost like a feature-length movie. It was like 70 minutes, and it was called Two Heads Are Better Than None. And it was almost like a ghost story episode. I thought that was a standalone movie. I didn't realize that was part of the show until I was looking up the episodes of the show, and they were listed as episodes, and I was like, wait a second. Like, I thought it was a Mary Kate and Ashley thing where they were getting their own movies.
Individual small movie.
Right. And
That you would watch in Larry Vaughn's French class.
Yes, exactly.
Or if you had Spanish 1 with him, Spanish 1.
Right. So in Spanish, you would watch Mary Kate and Ashley in
Passport to
Paris.
Paris, yeah.
As you do.
Winning London.
Yes.
We watched that too.
Oh my goodness. Bless.
Good times.
Anyway, so
We did not watch Good Times, actually.
Different show altogether.
Kel had a Spanish one with him. I learned nothing.
We learned more Spanish from him than we did our Spanish 2
Yes.
teacher,
Oh,
George A. Rand.
oh man. I think the only thing I learned is that it's totally cool to get on the back of a moped of a boy in a foreign country that you've never met. Totally safe. Not frowned upon at all.
I was Michael Thompson's father, and I gave him a watch.
Remember that.
And then I asked him what it said. He's like, I don't know. What does it say? He's like, I don't know. I don't speak Spanish.
I just remember Larry Vaughn in that class. Sorry, turn this that way, but you had to be a name, a Spanish name. You had to pick a new name.
I was Enrique.
Well, see, Kyle doesn't translate in
No,
Spanish.
it doesn't.
So I had a list I was kind of looking at, and I was like, oh, Daniel will be cool. Like, I'll take Daniel. And then all of a sudden class starts as you've filled it out, like you've chosen, like you can't, no going back. It's like, okay, Danielle, come on. And I was like, wait a second, I didn't choose Danielle.
That's not what I meant.
And
That's
of
not
course,
what I
it's
said.
like a ninth grader like coming in, high school, trying to figure out everything in the world. Being called Danielle. That's not what it said at all. It's Daniel. Pronounce it right. No, Danielle in Spanish. Come on.
I started learning Enrique Iglesias songs.
Yes.
So one of my friends from college, her name's Sheila.
Oh,
Sheila.
Mm-hmm.
And she
Yeah,
had
I
a
love
Spanish
you
class.
too.
That was the same thing where the teacher was going to decide what she was going to call you, by your Spanish name or whatever. And so she decided that Sheila was going to be Chela. And so every day at the start of class when she took roll, she would say like, Daniel, yes. Like you're here. Like Enrique, yes. And so she'd be like, Chela, yes. Like, it's so funny to listen to her tell that story. Because she was also kind of like, Sheila. My name's Sheila. Like,
Pronounce it right.
Right.
I got friends in here. I'm trying to make friends in here.
Shayla, yes.
The only other, I know Michael was Miguel. The only other person I remember is Allison's sister Jenna was Guadalupe.
Yes.
I see it, honestly. I see it. Yeah.
Lupe for short.
Lupe for short. Oh, man.
Anyhow.
So Kenan and Kel, the show. This is sort of like a lot of things from my childhood where I get a general feeling and not a specific memory. Does that make sense? So like when I actually started to go watch the show, it was kind of like Goosebumps, where the idea of watching it gave me like this warm-hearted, like, this is gonna be awesome, I remember this. And then I start watching it and I'm like, I have no memory of this.
Hey, there's Ryan Gosling.
Yeah.
I feel like there's certain episodes that I remember parts of because it's like I think of Kenan and Kel and I automatically think of the line that I put the screw in the tuna.
Yes.
Because there's a whole episode of like Kenan eating tuna.
Put the screw
Yeah.
in the tuna.
Just quick synopsis: Kenan's eating tuna out of a can, and all of a sudden he swallows a screw.
Oh no!
And he coughs it up. I think he coughs it up.
Yeah.
But then he goes to sue the tuna company.
Yes.
And
that's
they get
called Luna Tuna,
Yes,
by the way.
Luna Tuna.
Best name ever. Luna Tuna.
They get as far as the courtroom where Kel is on the stands. That they literally have defeated these people, and Kel's up there at the very end, and Kel breaks. And it turns out Kel was the one that accidentally dropped the screw in the tuna as they were getting food prepared.
Yeah.
And he just starts screaming, I dropped a screw in the tuna!
He crawls over the judge's stand. He's like,
holding on to the judge.
Don't take me down. I'm sorry. Like, he just loses it.
Yeah.
And it's just like Kel at his most, like, he said that they kept doing it, and every time they would be like, take it further, take it, and just letting him, like, use his, like, spatial comedy to it, and so he just, like, moves around the courtroom, like, he grabs one of the jurors and, like, shakes them, and he's like, I put this girl, and he just loses it. It's fantastic. That's a really good episode.
We didn't bring it up so much, but we've mentioned it, but Kel was much more of a physical comedian.
Yes.
Whereas the same way you see that a lot, where he's crawling all over people, he's like, I'm sure he's super flexible because he falls in all sorts of ways and gets right back up.
Right.
One of the funniest things, and go back to all that a little bit, and I think it happened in Kenan and Kel too, was how often they use dummies.
Yes.
It's like all of a sudden very unrealistic things.
Right. Yeah.
But they didn't hide it. But they didn't hide it. It was very obvious that it was a dummy.
Yeah.
Like, and they just put it in there and left it there because that was part of the humor with it. But even with Kenan and Kel, as it goes on into their own show, there's so much more of that, how they kind of just grow from what they've seen and all that, where Kel is still very much a physical comedian and Kenan is the brains behind everything, but they put that in a storyline that's not just comedy, like, because there is, it's a comedic show, but they continue to grow about family, because I think a lot more of kind of how like Boy Meets World, where Kenan has a very well secure family at home. He's got a sister, mom and dad, very loving, like things taken care of. You don't really ever see Kel's parents at all. Like, I'm sure he's mentioned at some point, briefly, probably, maybe.
Yeah.
But there's that weird thing where, like, Kenan's dad, like, really hates Kel, but he probably, same way, like, Family Matters, where, like, he hates Steve Urkel.
Yes.
But at the same time, there's a love for him still that's there. Like, there's so much of that. And so it's a lot of, the best way to explain to Eric is it's not so much a skit show as it's more of the same way of Family Matters or Boy Meets World or whatever else. There's just the extra humor that you already have that's built upon from this other show that it made sense just to throw it in a show. But.
Yeah, one of my favorite episodes I do remember was they had a dream sequence, and Kel did like Singing in the Rain, but with orange soda rain. So it was orange rain, and he was like Gene Kelly, like tap dancing.
It turned black and white. Or like you could see
the
the rain was orange, but everything else was like black and white.
Preposterous, but it was so funny.
Yes.
That sounds hilarious.
It was.
As someone who loves Singing in the Rain, I want to see this now.
Yeah.
At least twice.
Yes, and he was wearing like the gray suit. He had the umbrella. Like it was full on.
I'm happy again.
The same episode, I think, because Kenan works at like a grocery store. And so he comes in, Kel comes in and pretty much hangs out there all the time.
Right.
There's a giant, like, life-size bottle of orange soda, and it shows Kel coming in, and he's, like, stunned, and he's, like, hugging it, you know, kissing it, everything else.
Shaking it up, and
Kenan's like, whoa, don't shake it up, blah, blah, blah. And then all of a sudden he goes to list, like, open it, and all of a sudden orange soda's going everywhere. Like, it's shook up the drink.
And then he starts dancing then, too.
Yes.
But it's more like Kel dancing and excitement, like, and there's orange soda raining down. And Kel said that he did, like, when he was thinking about, like, what he was gonna, like, what dance he was gonna do, he said, I just thought about Prince at the end of Purple Rain. Yes. And so I just started, like, touching myself and just, like, dancing in the orange soda, and they had let him keep it in there. It was hilarious.
Wow.
Yeah. So it's
definitely
Orange Rain.
Okay, that's on my list to check out.
Yeah.
Sure. 100%.
It's so funny. And then these girls come behind him, and they're, like, dancing cans of orange soda.
Yes.
It's fantastic.
Y'all have sold me
so
on that.
Yes. Yeah. It's really good. So that was one of my favorites.
I'd move you to Good Burger next in the sense that, honestly, there's something about it that Nickelodeon put out these movies, and as a kid, there's something, you still see it, and you automatically get a weird feeling, like a warm feeling like you're talking before. Nickelodeon would put out these movies, you know, once they were, you know, out of theaters or whatever else, but they were always, the cassettes were orange.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you didn't have black, they put orange.
The Rugrats movie was orange.
Yeah.
And so I think of a lot of things like that. There's a stage or a time period where they put a lot of movies out, or this handful I can think of. But you had Good Burger, you have Snow Day.
You don't have that with DVDs now.
You don't. You lose a lot of that.
Yeah.
Yes.
Nothing standing.
So you got Snow Day, and then you got Harriet the Spy is another one that comes out, and it's like
Harriet the Spy.
all of those have like where the movie's still good.
Mm-hmm.
It's not, you know, you still probably some little bit of your nostalgic goggles, but you go back and still watch these things, and they hold up where they actually have people that really cared, like actually working on them.
Yeah.
And you'll see a lot of some of these characters spin off of these things. You saw Nickelodeon. The same way, Saturday Night Live, you have characters like Ghostbusters, you know, from the Ghostbusters wasn't a thing on Saturday Night Live, but still it spun off, you know, Austin Powers, all these other characters that spin off of that, and you relate it right back to Saturday Night Live. There's a lot of ways these work. I would totally sit down and watch Good Burger with you, and just, I'm not gonna lie, as an adult, Mondo Burger is their competition that moves in across the street that makes and sells these giant burgers, and they look amazing. Like, they look amazing, but they look fake. Like, you probably would get sick from eating it.
Right.
Yes.
But like, the patties are like this.
It's like the flashy lights, and you know, it's like when you have something really good to offer, but then your competition, it's not that they have a better product, it's that they have better marketing.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's definitely, it reminded me when I was going back and looking at the trailer for Good Burger, it reminded me a little bit of, oh no, you guys did a whole episode on it.
Did we?
Heavyweights.
Oh yeah, we did a whole episode on heavyweights. Kenan
like,
Thompson was in that.
Yes,
Yes, so the competition for Good Burger reminds me a lot of Ben Stiller's character, where he comes in and he's just like flashy, and, you know, but like he's
like,
not good. He's not a nice guy.
Like flashy, I don't know if they're like silver, almost like windsuit type things.
Yeah, and the guy has like
Again,
a
his
mic
character
and
from
he stands in
Dodgeball.
front. Yes. Yeah, it's very Ben Stiller like. So he's not necessarily, he doesn't have a better product. He's just loud. So anyway, I liked the dancing soda rain episode, and then the episode that's a 2-part where Kenan moves. So they think that they're going to be separated.
It's sad too.
Like Sean or like Corey and Topanga.
Yes.
A long way back from Philadelphia.
Yes. And so I cried.
Well, there's the final of the first one. The end of the first episode reminds me a lot of, I think it's the finale of Fresh Prince, where Will's in the empty house where there's nothing there.
Yes.
Kel comes running because there's like this whole emotional scene where they have walkie-talkies, and they're like, well, these aren't going to work now that like Kenan's moving away.
He's moving to Montana.
Yeah. And he's like, well, here, you keep them both in case you have another friend.
Yeah.
I mean, just
with his dad.
Storyline or not. Why?
Yeah, his dad gets a job as a park ranger.
No offense to, okay, that makes sense then. No offense to our Montana listeners.
Yeah.
None of you.
But he does like.
If you're from Montana and you listen to the show, please email us at whatthewhatmedia@gmail.com so we can so I can apologize to you on the air next week.
Yeah.
But they go through that and they're both each like, here, you keep it. You know,
Right.
your new friend that you make.
Right.
You know, you keep it. And then Kel's like, why don't we just each give him to remember us by? And there's a scene not long after it. I don't remember what Kel has made, but he's got
It's a picture.
of
He's
something.
got a picture of the two of them, like
Yeah.
blown up and framed, that he's gonna bring Kenan.
He comes running in through the kitchen and he's yelling their name. He's like, Kenan, Kenan. And he runs in. It's an empty living room. There's nothing there. It's obvious they've already left.
Mm.
And he's still yelling for him, trying to like, you know, come on, where are you, Kenan?
I know, and that's funny.
Yeah.
Come on out now.
Yeah, and it's like so sad because it ends there. And then I remember I was reading or watching somebody was talking about watching that one and said, you know, they were just bawling because they thought that was the finale of the show and the show was over and that everything was done.
Right.
Because you didn't have the internet back then. You didn't know, well, you may technically had the internet, but it wasn't what it is now. So.
Yeah.
So in my head, you know, you describing him running into the room, I'm picturing Usher at the beginning of Confessions Part 1. It's like, okay,
Yeah.
for real, don't play like that.
Yeah.
What, you serious? You ain't hear no more?
But yeah.
How you know?
But it is actually really sad. Which
It is.
I think that is peak 90s.
Mhm.
We had so many shows that were funny until they weren't.
They toyed with your emotions.
Right. And so like you didn't know from one week to another whether you're going to be watching like the funny sitcom or
Are
whether
you
it was
going to be
one of those
laughing
serious
or are you
episodes.
crying?
So it was like Full House, Boy Meets World,
A very
Family
special
Matters.
episode. Yes.
Right. And so
Yes.
you're like, ha ha ha, wait a second, this is really sad.
Yep. It's the truth.
So it was like that. But I really liked the next season when they come back and they get reunited and they can't stop hugging each other. They're like, oh yeah, bro, ha, and then they hug and they're like, no.
And they break it was
like,
too cool. And then they
yeah,
get back and they go
and
back
then
to
they
hugging
go
again.
back to hugging. And I just thought we were so fortunate. I think that the 90s was the start. I think of letting dudes be friends.
Yes.
Like letting men have intimate friendships.
Yes.
Because we had Corey and Sean and then Kenan and Kel, and it was like, yeah, guys hug, guys talk about things with
Guys
each
could
other.
say, I love you.
Waldo
And they're
and
okay.
Eddie.
Yeah.
Right.
Waldo called it.
Yeah.
Geraldo.
Tommy and Chucky.
Yeah.
But you're right, because there is that weird stage. Like, I will say, like my friend Will Howard, who honestly just name drop him, he's the one who
Yep.
suggested we do this.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
He
Thank you,
suggested-
Will.
Yeah.
Thanks, Will.
Will was one of the
By the way,
first ones.
speaking of giving people shout-outs,
Yes.
this show was originally going to be an episode called Convince Me. And we got a Facebook message from Will, who was very complimentary of the show, which is a great way to get in our good
That's
graces.
right. That's right.
Which, we grew up with Will and we love Will.
We're listening.
But he had a great suggestion talking about Kenan Thompson and all of the stuff. So that's where this show kind of derived from, was his suggestion. So we do listen to suggestions, ladies and gentlemen. So if you have ideas, our schedule, we might have some ideas put on there, but we can move things around.
Yeah,
So-
absolutely.
So thank you, Will, for bringing up this topic. Anyway, go ahead.
No, but Will was a lot like that, where Will was very open. And he was the football player, he was the big dude, but Will, I played in bands with Will, and Will would come up and hug you, and Will would be like, I love you. And you had that little moment of like, is this, society says this is not cool or whatever, and you're, I'm gonna take your man card because of that. And it's like, Will's the guy that like took the man card, shredded up, and said, you don't need a man card.
That's right.
Let's move forward with
Real
this."
men hug.
Yes. And so from
They
that,
also wear pink, I found out.
yes. I grew from that
Facts.
though with Will, and a lot of it because I see my relationship with Will a lot. Like sitcoms were from our kids, like from our childhood, but that taught me something. And the same way, if you hadn't have seen these kids started to do that on television, or guys or whatever, I'm not gonna say it's the only way, but it definitely was a great start and an impressionable point in our lives. So
It was okay to be friends and not just be macho dudes.
yes,
I mean, always trying to outdo the other one. So,
Right.
yeah, I see that. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
great. You didn't even see it, and you saw it.
Well,
That's
I see
right.
it. Yeah,
It's a
but
third eye.
yes.
That's right.
All knowing.
I'm telling you, it's the cultural zeitgeist.
The old Zyke.
That's
Gotta
our,
keep
by the way, that's our word, our promo word of the day. Cultural zeitgeist.
Cultural zeitgeist.
Which also
Mention this and you get 20% off your next purchase at whatthewhatmedia.com/shop.
yes, that'll work someday.
Please go to that URL right now.
And don't buy it because we want to buy that one.
Yeah.
But I think about it, Kenan and Kel, that was often a thing on every episode where we would be hanging out, Kenan and Kel would be, and somebody would come in and say like, I'm telling you, it's part of the zeitgeist. And they would look at each other and be like, zeitgeist? Like, and it happened often, like when a big word would be used, they
Right.
would both be kind of like, oh. Yeah, that's my life.
I have a question.
Okay.
Okay.
Because I'm listening to what you just said. and I'm starting to piece things together now.
Okay.
Cultural zeitgeist, was that referenced on the show, or is she just using that because that she saw it on her word of the day toilet paper or something? I mean,
No. I'm just that's like
She's very educated compared to you and I.
I don't think that's necessarily true at all. No, cultural zeitgeist is like my word. You know, everyone has a word.
Mine's cool.
I love that word because I think it's so relevant in pop culture because a cultural zeitgeist is like a pop culture hive mind.
Gotcha.
It means that something.
Hive mind.
Wait a second. How can I put this on a 6th
Explain this to us like we're 5.
I'm just thinking of exploding bees at this point.
So you know when something's so popular that everyone knows about it.
Yes, like Game of Thrones.
Yes, Game of Thrones.
I've
is
never
a cultural
seen an episode,
zeitgeist.
but I know exactly what happened because I watched Thompson Shaw.
Correct.
Correct.
That's the cultural zeitgeist is when something reaches such a level of popularity that you can talk about it in a crowd and assume that everyone knows what you're talking about.
So like the way I would kind of describe it, I guess would be like your grandmother knows what it's about.
Right.
You know, maybe not in detail, but they've heard
But
of
like
it.
the idea that when we say all that, even though you've never seen all that, you're like Good Burger.
Yes.
Like you know.
I know Good Burger.
Everyone
I hope
knows.
to have a Good Burger.
Right.
Try.
Yeah.
Does Wendy's have
like
beef
that.
back?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, good. I hope so too.
Promo code Zeitgeist.
Go to whatmedia.com/shop.
If you get Wendy's tonight, please record that and we'll put that on Instagram. Yes, I have
I'd like a good
discount
burger,
code.
some good fries.
I have a discount code.
Zeitgeist. 20% off cultural zeitgeist.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Wow.
All right, just give me a baconator then, no mayonnaise.
There you go.
Sorry, we're out of bacon.
Oh man.
No! No! I had to wait 3 weeks for you to get beef in. Now you're out of bacon. This is terrible. This is the worst.
Oh man. Okay, that's it. I mean, that's everything for me. That's what. Do you have any more?
No, as far as Kenan and Kel, I think it's one of those things that I feel sometimes just gets lumped in together with all the Nickelodeon stuff.
Right.
But it's definitely a good enough show that it can stand on its own. Like to go back to actually like it. It's not something that just was Snick and it was just part of it. Like
Right.
it's actually its own thing.
No, it was definitely a standout, I think.
Mm.
I thought it was really funny though. In my final thoughts, I did put so Kenan and Kel, once the show ended, they both auditioned for SNL and Kenan got it, obviously. And Kel admits in his audition he did not do a very good audition, and they sort of went their separate ways, and I think that was taken as like they're not friends anymore and it ended badly and you know one of them's mad at the other one. And I don't think it was that at all. I think they just sort of, you know, you grow apart.
They took 2 different paths.
Right, and when you're not working together, it's hard to keep up with one another.
Absolutely.
But Kel kept on. He was producing, he was, you know, acting still. He was doing a lot of things. He just wasn't as prevalent in, you know, popular media. And so it was interesting. There was a 2013 article from The Atlantic called Whatever Happened to Kel from Kenan and Kel, as explained by Kel, because there was an internet rumor that he died.
Yes, I remember that.
And so he had to be like, I'm still alive. I didn't die. And so they talked in that about sort of what he had been doing. But they didn't talk a lot about their friendship. But then I think it was made pretty clear a few years later when Jimmy Fallon had the Good Burger sort of like reunion sketch, where they came back as their characters and they seemed like they were having a lot of fun and laughing. I think they've been.
I'm not lying. There's like a teary moment there though,
Right.
when like Kel comes out, does his whole skit and does a part of it, but then when Kenan comes out as Lester Oaks, construction worker. There's where the crowd's going nuts, so he has to kind of just sit there and wait.
Right,
for
but they're
down.
looking at one another.
But he keeps looking at him and he keeps smiling and they keep like he keeps like
Right.
he turns and waves at the crowd and turns back.
Right.
But like you have that moment of them like that connection of them staring at each other. It hits you in the heart where it's like,
Yeah.
I don't know if they haven't been friends or not, but this is what the world has been telling me is they're not.
Right.
And so to hit that, it's like, you know, the
Right.
highlight
Either
of the movie.
way, it has a lot of weight. I think because whether they had been friends or not, or had made up or not, like they're for the first time in a decade, they're standing in front of one another doing what they used to find so much joy in. And you can tell in that, because I rewatched it because it's hilarious, you can tell the whole time that both of them are trying not to break, because like they've got that kind of quirk where you can tell they're like, don't laugh, don't break, you know. And you can tell they're just having so much fun, and I loved it. That was a lot of fun. I'm really glad that Jimmy Fallon did that.
And speaking of Jimmy Fallon, so I haven't seen that skit, but Jimmy Fallon's really good about bringing like a lot of closure to a lot of our shows from our childhood.
Yeah.
He did it with
Saved by the Bell. Yeah.
He had Jesse and the Rippers one night. I mean, he's really good about doing stuff like that. So good on Jimmy Fallon. We do a Jimmy Fallon episode.
Yeah. I feel like it happened. I know I've been working since, I remember, what year was it? Was it
2015?
15,
Yeah.
so yeah. I was at work and I remember, like, I didn't see it live the night before, but I remember just being on the internet at work and all of a sudden seeing that. And it was like, I don't care what's on my desk right now, this is stopping so I can watch this. And I remember it just hitting so hard, like, because it pops up in your Facebook memories now where I shared it back then, where it was just such a big moment.
Yeah.
Of like, your childhoods are, fully circled, everything's, they're back together, they're,
Yes.
what are they going to do next? Are they going to do another one? Like, and it didn't turn into that, but it's cool now. They're working together as producers and all that. They've brought something back together. And they've been asked, like, are you going to do a Good Burger too? And they both have said, I'm fully down to do a Good Burger too. Don't talk to us, talk to the people with the money.
That's right, exactly.
They've got to write the check.
Right.
And get that going. But I don't know, it's just cool to see it. And we live in a world where so much of our childhood comes full circle for us because we are an age now where we have money to afford to pay for things
Yes.
Oh,
that we loved, and they're like,
For
we
sure.
can throw any of this back at you and you're going to pay for it.
Oh, I own Spice World on DVD.
Yeah.
Because I can.
Let's
I
say
don't
like,
have to ask my mom to rent it at Blockbuster 18,000 times. I am a grown adult.
it's like adding Ninja Turtles on DVD, and I have them all on VHS, but no, I need them on DVD now. Like, the Blu-ray, let me have it. Like, it's all the random things like that.
I can spice up my own life.
Yes, anytime I want now. Eric doesn't know about that world.
I do. I have the CD. So.
Yes, we should do an episode on Spice World.
Have you
It
ever
has
watched the movie?
everything. It
I've
has
seen the
Elton
movie.
John,
I
it
think I
has
have.
Roger Moore. It has Meatloaf.
I think we need to sit down and watch it because I haven't seen it.
Oh,
It's
I
been
know
about
It's
25
so
years
good.
since I've seen it. When did it come out? 95, 96, 97?
Somewhere in there.
Somewhere.
6?
Yeah, it's been. Yeah, I saw it when it came out.
Oh,
I got
man.
dragged to the movies. And,
So good.
Yeah, sure.
So good. Meatloaf is the bus driver.
Is he?
Yeah, and the loo breaks in the bus, and they're like, yeah, you gotta fix that. And he's like, look,
The
I would
loo.
do anything for those girls, but I won't do that.
There's a whole generation right now that would not understand or appreciate that. So I'm glad that we
Exactly.
do.
I think we were in a perfect position as like 80s, 90s babies.
Yes, we got the best of
Culturally,
everything.
we got the
I
best
call
of
it,
everything.
we're technically millennials, I guess,
Right.
but I call us Generation Oregon Trail
Yeah.
because we were able
Right.
to play it growing up.
We remember technology, not technology. Like we remember the genesis of the internet.
We remember
and-
the Sega Genesis.
Yes.
Right. We had our parents' music, which was really good, like classic
Yes.
rock and disco.
And we had the stuff we grew up with right up until the
Right.
fact where we graduated and then turned.
Yeah, but we had like 90s grunge,
Yeah.
and we had, it was just.
I was talking
it
with
was
Michael
so
about that
good.
at work today. Is even music, and I know something to do with Kenan and Kel, but music wise, is we've all graduated and moved on, and it's been 10 years or more, or it was
More.
15, or more.
Let's not talk
A
about
lot
it.
more.
But
I'm coming up on 20 years in in a couple of
No,
years.
shut it down.
no, but like how much we still just listen to that music, and
Oh, yeah.
it's from that generation back, like you're talking about, from our parents and beyond that in that time period. But we kind of stopped at that point. I'm sure there's plenty of people that are like, no, actually, I continue to listen to the modern stuff today, and it's like,
No.
okay, whatever you do.
Yeah.
But
Who,
it's like,
who you trying to impress
Just
there?
a little bit.
Yeah.
Just a little bit. Of
Just
my
a
Yeah.
little
music.
bit.
but I don't know. It's just something where even all the other random underground bands and stuff I got into, like I still like them, but it's like if I'm going to sit down and have a moment, like I'm probably going back to these random like 90s, 2000s
Right.
or older
Like,
stuff.
thank God for Spotify because
Oh,
when
yeah.
I'm feeling nostalgic, I would just type in 2000s throwback or
Yes.
2000s playlist
Yes.
and just go through, and it can be
So
anything
good.
from hip hop, R&B to the pop stuff to the grunge to the rock
Right.
to the emo.
You got, like,
I mean, you got
Alanis Morissette,
everything.
Goo Goo Dolls, Nirvana, Coolio. Like
Yep.
it's just, it was such good music, and the genre I think opened up.
But there's
in
a
the
wide
80s and
variety
90s.
versus now on radio. And I know like people, because of our phones and because of our stuff, radio is not as prominent as what it used to be. But like a lot of the stations are only playing what's new, or some stations that can't get the rights to that are listening to what was new like 5 months ago.
Right.
Right.
And it's all the same style stuff, unless it's older, like there's one
Right.
specific thing. But I was telling Michael at work, and I've showed him, and I don't know if it's just the part of me that likes the nostalgic feel of things. But I've started watching this guy on YouTube that just reacts to music, where he just didn't grow up listening to the things that we did. And so it's just a fun thing to see somebody sitting down, listening to the music that you like have known and loved your whole life, and him hearing it for the first time, and his reaction. And most of the time he's just like, this is awesome, and like he gets really into it. And just to see that though, because you get that a little bit for the first, it's like when you know, when we've had some of the youth in our car, like going on trips, we went for
way there.
There's that, like we went, like we helped with a youth band stuff, and
Right.
so for Christmas we all went all you could eat sushi, and we were going on the way.
I'm gonna miss that place.
Yeah, but actually they opened back up today.
Good, like the same format.
Yes,
Okay.
I don't know how that works in this world we live in now, but they
In a couple of months, when we find out that everyone's healthy, we should go back.
But I remember being like, Erica was going with us. I was like, do you mind driving? Like, we'll take the Jeep. Do you mind driving? She's like, no, it's fine. Because I wanted to be the DJ, like, for these kids the entire way. And like, I don't know what your parents have taught you, but this is what you're listening to
That's
now.
right.
Like, here's my lifespan. Go.
You gonna learn today.
Yes. And I mean, and I feel like I get that way, and I think that's why we're here now. Like, this is why we're here talking about the things.
Pass on our knowledge.
That's right.
And our excitement.
And Ashby's like, let's finally actually do that, and not here just ramble for now.
Yes.
Like, that's why I'm here, straighten things out.
On point.
But yes.
Cool.
Okay. Is that any other final thoughts?
We can't wait to check out the orange soda in the rain.
Eric, you've been super chatty this episode.
I mean,
Thanks for sticking with Kyle and I.
sometimes you know it
Going
works
back and
better. Like when you have, like, so there's 3 of us now. If I wanted to talk about Survivor, he's never seen Survivor. I don't know if you've ever seen it. It wouldn't work if not, you know. But if there's 3 of us and 2 of us have seen something, that works a lot better than if just one of us has seen it.
And we've had episodes that way. Where
Yes.
it's weird here. That's just like, I'm trying to make this exciting because I love this so much, but you have no idea.
No idea what I'm talking about.
Heavyweight's a goofy movie. Like,
Yeah.
I didn't see those growing up, so he was much more excited about it than I was. But I mean, still.
The cool thing about this episode is different than that, because this is stuff that I know if you go and sit down, you're actually going to enjoy. It's not a matter of, you didn't see it as a child, so you just don't understand why it's such a great movie. Like, no, this stuff is just still funny. Like, it still holds its own. It still holds up to the point that, like, I am excited to be like, Eric, we're going to go sit down and watch this at
It's
some
like
point.
one of the things you don't have to wear your nostalgic
Right.
goggles for.
Yeah.
Awesome.
By the way, whenever we finally get a www.whatthewhatstore.com or whatever, shop, we need to sell sunglasses.
Yeah, and Calvin nostalgia goggles.
Yes.
We trademark that.
Like
Oh,
bright
man.
orange, you know, frames, lime green lenses, vice versa.
Yes.
We're going to do this.
I like it.
Start writing it down.
Merchandising. We got to start coming up with a business plan.
Yes.
So we have all these ideas.
See,
Well,
that's why I'm glad you're here.
the
because Eric and
podcast literally started because we started writing stuff down, and then
Okay.
we stopped doing that.
Well, Eric and I usually are the ones that write tons of things down and get excited about it, and then we lose the list.
Yeah.
Like,
I don't know where that list
stuck in
is.
a bag.
I think it's on a doc somewhere.
Yeah, we get excited.
I'll
and
share it
then
with you. You can be like, y'all haven't done any of this. What?
it's like,
Oh,
we have great ideas, no motivation.
I forgot about social media.
Yeah.
Oh, the social media shout outs.
Yeah, social media shout outs. I did not.
Oh, yeah, I've got that. Oh,
I was
sorry.
gonna say, I didn't write them down. I thought Kyle had them.
I did. Sorry. We're next page.
Social media shout outs.
We're going to announce this right here, Instagram. I was surprised today. I was looking at it. This person commented on our post yesterday with a bunch of just the praise hands. I was like, oh, awesome, cool. And I think I was in the middle of doing something on my phone, so I liked it, and I was going to come back. Turned out that was Shingun Sergulin, and I'm doing my best. I even researched how he said his name to do my best. Turns out that is an actor on the new All That show that is currently on television.
Oh,
now.
nice.
Yes.
He gave the praise hands at first, and I went back after finally realizing who he was and knowing like that I've watched some of the new episodes now. I went back and was like, you know, dude, the new show's amazing.
Yeah.
We're definitely going to watch that now.
That's awesome.
And he came back. His comment was, Kenan and Kel, legends. I'm so blessed to have this opportunity. Thank you so much.
That's awesome.
So that
Absolutely.
is Shingun. That is
For no other reason, I'm going to check out the new show.
Yeah.
Just for his humbleness,
Yeah,
obviously.
absolutely.
I mean,
Everyone
that's,
should
that's
give
really
the new
awesome.
show a try. And you don't have to have cable because they put all the episodes on YouTube.
On the tube.
Mhm.
That's right.
On the YouTube.
And then Crazy Rockstar Al says, 2 people I love.
Okay.
That was the other kid.
Okay.
That I went and looked at his pictures.
Cool.
And there was nothing
Cool.
there was nothing in his pictures that pointed out that he was an actor. But all of a sudden, about 3/4 of the way down, he's in a picture with Kel Mitchell, like with his arm around him. So maybe I don't know.
Okay.
Just a good personal friend.
Yeah.
Now to Facebook to our friends,
Like
and
me
not
and Dana
to
Radcliffe.
Yes.
Yeah, buses. Facebook. Anna Will says, too many. I watched all that growing up and loved Super Dude, Pizza Face, and the Repairman. Man. We didn't mention Pizza Face. That's the whole nother guy.
Pizza Face and the big ears.
Big eared, yeah.
Yeah, big eared dude or whatever.
Emily White Casey says, welcome to Good Burger. Well, Howard says, who loves orange soda?
We do.
We do.
Amanda, is this your friend Gaddis?
Yes, yeah.
Is that how you say it?
Amanda Gaddis. Amanda Gaddis.
I want to make sure we do it right. Says, who loves orange soda? Kel loves orange soda.
Right.
Michael Thompson says, I was tuning into these two every Saturday night. My favorite All That characters was Coach Creech. Eric should take a page out of his playbook with his kids. I also love the relationship between Kel and Mr. Rockmore, which is Kenan's dad on the Kenan and Kel show. Said, I always looked like he genuinely hated Kel. Chris Rhodes says, I was like Eric and did not grow up with cable, so I really didn't get to watch much of this.
Good old Chris Rhodes.
Yeah, says, I do remember watching all that and bits and pieces of Good Burger, some during the summers when I would stay at my grandparents'. He said, but to be honest, I never really enjoyed Kenan and Kel as a child, but I really do like what Kenan Thompson has done lately, especially his former reprising roles as DeAndre Cole on What's Up With That SNL skit and his character of Scared Straight, which was another SNL skit. Tiffany Wood shared a gif of Kenan and Kel dressed as ladies dancing. And Bonnie Gregory says, if Ashby is on again, her mic needs to be turned up.
Thanks.
Oma, we turned
Thanks,
it up.
Emma.
Oma, I gave her my microphone tonight. She should be a little bit louder.
And I did a little adjusting thingy on the
And
door.
I
Look, here's
twisted the mic and almost
Here's
hit
the
her in
thing
the
about
face.
Emma that you have to keep in mind. And, with all of her complaining, we
No, I'm
could
thankful
lose
for her.
every single fan of this podcast, and that woman would still watch it.
Look, I'm
So-
not complaining at all. I'm impressed
I'm complaining.
that your grandmother is on Facebook because mine is not.
Oh,
So-
she's on Snapchat. She Snapchats me.
See, that's awesome.
She's a
amazing.
techie grandma.
That is awesome.
She knows what's up.
See, and she's the kind of listener we need. Because
That's right.
there's a lot of our friends that have listened and be like, oh yeah, well, now that you say something on microphone, I do have some trouble hearing you sometimes. Like, we should have said something.
You
Like,
should have said something back in June of last year
Feedback.
yeah. So,
when we were starting out,
So what made me
and not in
nervous-
December when we'd done 50, or
Right.
26 episodes.
so what makes me nervous, because every time Eric talks about reviews, he says 5 stars only, and I get scared, so I don't want to do that.
No, we only accept 5-star reviews, but you can write whatever you want in the
Right,
comment
that's,
section.
that's the whole point. You
Yeah,
say
you
5 stars.
give us the 5 stars, but then blast
turn
us
the
all you
volumes
want.
up.
Yes.
So,
All right,
That was
friends.
it.
A big thank you to Rickie Liles and Will Howard, who we've already mentioned,
Yes.
for his fantastic idea for this episode. If you have an idea, let us know.
absolutely. Do you know what we're doing next week, Ashby?
What are we doing next week?
We're going into our 6th entry into the Running the Infinity Gauntlet series.
Woo!
This is the Avengers 2012.
Ugh, I'm so excited.
As I'm saying this, make sure we talk to Matt Starling. Because he has been on a Marvel kick lately
Yes.
and keeps
Okay.
buying all these props from the movie.
Yes, we need to get all his
We need
props.
some props.
He has Mjolnir.
He does have a life-size, full weight, everything
Ooh,
Mjolnir.
Mjolnir.
Can't even pick it up.
I think he has an Iron
Well,
Man
I mean,
mask
is he
now.
worthy?
I'm not worthy, obviously. I tried and it just
Yeah.
tore my shoulder. Anyway,
He's got an Iron Man mask, I think, and I think he's in the process of buying Cap Shield if he hasn't already done it. Like,
Okay,
not the ones straight from the movie, but the ones that pretty much are the same quality as the movie type.
gotcha.
okay.
I'm down.
So
I'm down.
we could each be a character.
I'm so excited to talk about the Avengers.
Yeah, a lot to
I'm
talk
talking
about
about
next
A
week.
lot to talk
This,
about.
that next week's episode is going to be our long. We have to start like right at 6 next week. 'cause
Yeah,
we might be
it'll
until
be
8:30.
like
Yeah.
2.5 hours
Yep.
because I will be bringing the Tumblr knowledge.
We'll pull a Titanic and stop halfway through and then come back and finish.
We might have to
Please wait
expand
while
our
we change the tapes.
we might have to
When's
expand
next
our
week?
fun facts list from 6 to 12. I don't know.
I mean, maybe.
Yeah, I'm saying. Cool.
Anyway, until next time, I'm a dude, he's a dude, she's a dude, because we're all
We're
dudes.
all
Yeah!
dudes.
Stay as cool as the other side of the pillow.
Wait,
Oh,
what? Wait,
snap,
what?
You stole your line.
Wait, what?
You heard me?
Wait, what?
You heard me?
No,
It's
that's
the-
my
As
line.
the other side of
The
the pillow.
pillow.
Until next week, bye.
What the
Wait, hang on. Don't turn this off. You stole my catchphrase, and then I didn't even get a chance to steal your
To be
catchphrase.
fair, I gave you like
Correct.
20 seconds to steal what the what. But
Correct.
you did not take it.
See you next week, guys. Bye.
Oh, come on. Just yell it one good time.
Bye.
No, just. Come on. You
Bye.
No, your own one.
Oh,
Cooler than the other side.
Come on, you can do it. You
stay
can
as cool as the other side of the pillow.
Now let's try it with some smile.
Stay as cool as the other side of the pillow.
Try it one more time like you just drank that whole entire thing of orange soda.
Stay as cool as the other side of the pillow. We'll see you next week.
What the what?
The main attraction, you're the main distraction. Will you